Hello, this is Dan with DK Excavating here at 571 West 7th Street. We did a spot repair with some two-way cleanouts here right next to the driveway, about halfway down the driveway between the street and the fence, just so we get some better access and try to unclog sewer. Currently we are in the cleanout. We are on the one going back toward the house. So right now we're looking at cast iron underneath the house. As you can see, we're showing 97 feet out to that direction. I mean, we're a little bit shorter than that. I got some cable going out from the camera and down the cleanout too, but we're still quite a ways. That's part of the reason for the cleanout. So they have better power and access for maintenance on this line. So I'll start pulling back. Didn't really see anything alarming, but I went pretty fast going this way. So right here's our cast to clay transition. There's a few tree roots right here, but it doesn't look like anything that can't really be maintained. I'm assuming this is at the edge of the house, and I would also guess that it's probably somewhere on the east side of the house, maybe even the northeast side of the house. Sorry, southeast. In the back, we kind of have a few angles, some slight root intrusions. Nothing too alarming that I saw, but like I said, I went pretty fast just to get the camera up in there because we are going against the flow. It did not push very difficult, and I didn't see any bellies, but so that's a good sign. We did have a blockage further down, so I'm assuming this side of the line has been snaked pretty recently, fairly thoroughly, trying to get the other blockage undone. Looks like they're hard to say if that's a root or hair fracture on the right side. Doesn't seem to be too alarming right now. Same there on the top of that pipe. You can't really tell with the lighting if that's a hairline fracture or if it's a free root. Sometimes you can have hairline fractures and they can last forever on these clay lines, and sometimes it's a sign of a future collapse if there's further disturbance of the pipe. Like if there was large tree roots or ground movement, it could definitely make it worse over time. Might be interested to see if the lighting changes going down from the other direction to see if you can verify if those are cracks or roots, or maybe just markings on the pipe. Right now it just looks like, I mean, the length of those, it kind of looks like it could be some kind of deposit from some kind of sewage, sludge, or steam. Typically cracks don't really look like that. I think we are getting some steam. It's pretty cold this morning. Seems like it's fogging up my lens a little bit. Getting some airflow through this pipe with this cleanout open. Minor root intrusion. Oh, and here's where we begin our two-way cleanout. We replaced probably about 12 or 13 feet of pipe here. But here's our transition to Schedule 40 PVC for our two-way cleanout. That purple line is just some primer that ran down when we were gluing things together. Coming up. This line is not very deep right here, maybe 4.5 feet. Out next to the driveway in the alley. So we're going to go down the other one and see Now we are toward the street. Alright, so clean out. We'll probably have about 10 feet of pipe before we transition again on this side. We did have to angle down here with the 22. Here's our transition again. We did use steel banded rubber fern coat adapters. Looks like this pipe levels off down here. Here's the angle transition. Looks like it's offset, but with the way of that clay, the way it meets together, that's just the angle transition to go from kind of more flat to more to that angle down that we were doing. So now we're more flat. I did notice a belly or two in this line when we were trying to clean this out to get it opened up. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like now. It's been a couple days since we did the repair. Put a cap on this other cleanout, see if I can reduce some of the airflow. It's probably flowing from the city main all the way up the vent stack. The heat from the ground is probably going right up the vent stack to outside. Alright, looks like we are about 56 feet out from from this cleanout going the other direction toward the street, and we start to drop into a belly. A little bit of sediment in the bottom. Whenever there's water that pools, it can collect that sediment. Sometimes that's debris, like just from the cast iron pipe, maybe up the line, or it could be solids. Could hang up in there a little bit. Got a slight offset right here. This is going to be out in the street. This might have been one of our tough spots to get past. We have a little bit of a root intrusion here, slight offset, and it could be an angle transition. The concerning part about this offset is that it's, that's probably where the belly is coming from, and you can see the bell end of that clay on the other end to the right side. So if this was like this originally, they really asked a lot out of that fitting, but it didn't take too much effort to get the camera over it. Here's another root spot. I think one of these root spots is what hung us up the most when we were trying to clean this line out. Definitely some sludge right through here built up from the previous thing. Yeah. Now I'm not sure what this is. This here looks like a Y, and from the placement of this, it's probably only like within 5 feet or so, if I remember, from the middle of the street. So I'm not sure why a Y would be here, unless they just capped off the top and needed a connection. I've seen some weird stuff with clay before. It definitely looks like there's something Ying upward. Could be nothing. I don't see any evidence that water's flowing from that, so if I was to guess, I would say that this is capped off. Right here we angle down to the right. Oh, here's our main root. This is the big root that we had problems with. Took us a while to cut through this, and now I have a better view than I did earlier. It definitely looks like it could use a little extra help. I would suggest getting this cleaned a little bit more. This could grow and regrow a little more quickly. Maybe some root killer periodically, and definitely some frequent maintenance on this guy if this wasn't to be repaired. So right here, it looks like we angle again, so we must be angling down to the right before this. Now we're getting ready to make a turn again and level off again more to the left. Looks like we've got a belly here. About an inch of water, maybe an inch and a half of water right here. There's a few solids, so that could hold up our water. We probably are pushing about an inch and a half. Probably about an inch and a half belly right here. And looks like right there we dropped into the main. So that belly is right before the main, and it's not very long, so as long as the main didn't back up, I can't imagine that belly giving too much problems, but any belly isn't ideal. So here we are. We're about 84 feet out from this cleanout. So this is a long line both directions. So definitely going to be helpful that we put this cleanout in, and hopefully maintenance will keep this thing clear. And I guess we'll find out if the owners want to repair some of that other stuff out in the street. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.